during earthquakes and floods and fires. We have a very special bond of trust with the National Guard. And so to see it misused this way, to potentially erode that trust, we also venerate the Marines, but to call on the Marines for no other reason, I think, than to add fuel to the fire is a terrible abuse of the military.
So, Senator, let me ask you about that. President Trump's decision to deploy the National Guard, the Marines, despite the fact that California Governor Gavin Newsom said he did not need that, did not want that. President Trump said the city would have, quote, burned to the ground without his aid. Do you think local officials had that situation under control?
Yes, I do. And, let's call the president's statement what it is, and that's just a flat-out lie. The idea that Los Angeles would have burnt to the ground, it's absurd. These demonstrations were taking place in a multi-block area in a city that is 500 square miles. Our police and our sheriff's office and our highway patrol are more than capable of dealing with this. And if they weren't, then the mayor and the governor would request the help of our guard.
Once again, Trump and his strongman fantasies. Consider this. There is no fire, no flood, no earthquake, but he is sending the National Guard and the Marines into the city. Why? Because supposedly Los Angeles was going to burn. Come on. We're talking about a city of 500 square miles. And what's the area where the incidents are happening? A few blocks. There's the police, the highway patrol, the sheriff's office. They're all there. But no, Trump wants to make an appearance, pose with a flag, and create a scenario where he can say, I saved this city. Remember the 2020 Lafayette Park incident where he dispersed peaceful protesters and took a photo in front of a church holding a Bible? That's the same mindset. Now he wants to send in the Marines, burn the Constitution, throw the Posse Comitatus Act in the trash. And no one is saying, Mr. President, what you're doing is nonsense, because his entourage is entirely made up of yes men. Stephen Millers, Kristi Noems. I'm serious. It's a miracle that these people can look in the mirror and say, we're serving democracy. If you want more content like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. With your support, we can reach more people.
I'm all for the president appearing and doing enlistment ceremonies at military bases. I've been with the president at Dover to receive home our dead soldiers, and so those who have been killed in action, and to mourn their loss. But I just never liked the idea of the parade, because I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and the only parades I can remember are Soviet parades for the most part, or North Korean parades. And the parades I remember from our history were different. Everybody remembers that famous scene of the soldier, dipping the girl and kissing the girl in New York in a ticker tape parade. But we were rejoicing the end of war, and we were rejoicing our soldiers coming home. And that absolutely ought to be commemorated and discussed every year, Memorial Day, Veterans Day. But we never glorified weapons so much. And I know he means well. I don't think he means for any of this to be depicted in another fashion, but I'm just not a big fan. And then there is the cost. We're $2 trillion in the hole, and just an additional cost like this, I'm not for it.
And here we come to another aspect of Trump's military fetishism: parade porn. Those moments when he goes into look how powerful I am mode with huge tanks, missiles, and military parades. Man, this guy's mind is stuck in 1980s Moscow. He's running the Pentagon with a Brezhnev mindset. Really, as Americans, we celebrate our soldiers, we remember them, but we celebrate the end of war, the arrival of peace. Remember that famous photo from VJ Day in 1945 with the sailor kissing the girl, confetti raining down from above? That's our style. But what does Trump want? He wants tanks rolling down Pennsylvania Avenue, fighter jets flying overhead, and him waving from the balcony. Like who? Like Kim Jong-un. It's like a joke, but it's real. And then he says, budget deficit? Oh, come on. The parade is so important. There's a $2 trillion hole in the economy, but this guy is still playing games. So someone should buy this guy a Monopoly set or something. He shouldn't be playing with the real army anymore.
As a member of Congress, I helped pass and create what was called the Council of Governors by law. And the Council of Governors was 10 governors appointed by the president, 5 Democrats, 5 Republicans, who worked with the Department of Defense, who worked with FEMA, who worked with the administration to coordinate how our National Guard interfaced and how emergency services interfaced. And then I had no idea when I did that in 2014 that I would later become a governor and be the co-chair of the thing that I created. And it was, I looked like a genius, but trust me, it was not. It was not Forrest Gump. And so I served in that, and I worked with it under, putting it in when President President Obama was there, was appointed, to it by President Trump the first time he was president. He had me be the co-chair, and then President Biden had me stay on as co-chair. And then President Trump fired me on January 21st this year. But the whole point of that is understanding how this works. And what you're seeing, while they go to historical reference points where LBJ used it in 65 or whatever, there's no analogy to how this is being used here. No request locally, no coordination locally, a federalization of the Guard. And the thing is about the Guard, they can be used in the civil inside the states without violating posse comitatus. But they are not a police force. They need to be accompanied with law enforcement. Law enforcement does law enforcement. National Guard does that. And some of them are helicopter pilots. Some of them are tankers. Some of them are supply sergeants. They do different.
And now Trump's other favorite toy, the federalized National Guard. So imagine, a system has been established, bipartisan, sensible, coordination-focused, passed by Congress in 2014, including both Democratic and Republican governors, to work together in times of disaster. How nice, right? So what does Trump do? He completely bypasses it. No coordination, no request, no local official has ever said, "Send us troops." But Trump acts like he has a hammer and everything is a nail, saying, "If I want to send them, I will." These people are helicopter pilots, logisticians, tank crews, not SWAT teams. They're not police. But to Trump, they're all just props. Like the doctors he lined up behind him in white coats or the Bible in front of the church, he's a simulation guy, plain and simple. And the strange thing is, he didn't even invoke the Insurrection Act this time. Why? Maybe the visual spectacle was enough. Maybe the legal backlash scared him. But such arbitrary action not only risks public safety, but also completely undermines the already fragile institutional trust.
And now we're back again. So it's a dangerous time. It's an inappropriate use. I saw the courts put a stay on it, and then the appeals courts overturned it. Just unprecedented, dangerous, according to local officials who know best, totally unnecessary other than a provocative move. So.
And what do you think people should do in this moment?
People in general?
Yeah, the public, all of us, leaders.
Yeah. Well, I think stay informed. I mean, I'm not telling you anything, it's not life coaching or whatever, but don't be doom scrolling through TikTok or whatever. That's not helpful at this point in time. Although all of mine are about dogs, so it is helpful in that regard. So the algorithm's working. I think it's continue to speak up, and the reason I am so concerned, the inability of the legislative branch, Article 1 of the Constitution, to take any of their authority and to capitulate is stunning to me. Why would you get elected if you didn't do that? You could maybe agree, and to see this gross overreach. What I think was important is seeing people speak up, and some of you have seen that study that said if 3.5% of the population speaks up, you'll see change or whatever. I could feel it out there when the past few months, I started going to these Republican districts after I saw the Republican leader tell them, don't go, don't do these town halls because you would have to defend cuts to Medicare, cuts to Social Security, and you're going to have these nasty clips that are going to be out there. That offended me on many levels. It offended me as a former member of Congress because I stood in those town halls in the summer of 2010 when the ACA was being debated and just got hammered. But I was proud to stand there because I was going to support the ACA and I voted for it. I think these town halls, going into these places, engaging people in non-traditional settings is the way to do it because, look, a lot of Democrats showed up for that, but a lot of independents.
So, friends, what we are experiencing right now is like a dystopian trailer. Trump is back on stage, and what is he doing? He is disregarding the authority of the courts, trampling on the decisions of governors, and deploying the National Guard on the streets as he pleases. On top of that, the judicial system is beginning to crumble. One court says stop, and a higher court lifts the ban. They call it unprecedented, meaning something that has never been seen before. And this isn't just a military issue. It's a constitutional erosion. The lawmakers, Congress, that is, the first branch of the Constitution, are officially standing by and watching. So why are you elected? Just to take photos? But the good news is this: people are starting to speak up. We must speak up. The greatest fear of authoritarian-leaning leaders like Trump is that the people will not lose their voice. That's why they threaten. If you protest, bad things will happen. Sorry, but protest is in this country's DNA. This country was founded on the Tea Party, I remind you. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified of new videos as soon as they are posted.